Hey, ¿qué pasa YouTube? aka what's up YouTube? Welcome to a draft analysis, draft recap, draft breakdown, whatever you want to call it, for a new league that we are in. Week 1 will be going up next Thursday on the 20th, so be on the lookout for that. Now, you guys, I'm sure you're wondering, where is the Durham Dragon logo? Well, I think after NCP and after APA, man, if I'm being honest with y'all, we gotta retire the Druddigons. I've had the Durham Druddigons logo since I first got into draft, like years ago. It's crazy. So there is still merch for Durham Druddigons available. I'll leave a link to that down in the description. If you guys want to cop some Durham Druddigon merchandise, I'll be stopping the selling of that most likely within a few weeks, in case any of you do want to get some Durham Druddigon merchandise, just because I don't want it to kind of be around. And I don't know, maybe I'll bring it back, maybe I won't. I don't know. If you guys do want some Durham Druddigon logo stuff, then definitely check that out. As for our new draft league logo, now obviously nothing is ever going to be as amazing as our Durham Druddigon logo, but it's all right. It is what it is. So unfortunately, we will have to say goodbye to the Druddigons. Like this, man, this is so dope. Look at this. That's like the best logo ever. Like you can't, like, this is top 3, top 2 easily. No, this is number 1. Let's be honest. Like this design is, oh, glad I got the pillow. So yeah, man, I'm just, rest in peace to Durham Druddigons. I apologize that I rambled on for so long, but this is our new team logo. We are now the Carolina HAXORUS. Awesome logo done by Beast Graphics. His Twitter link will be down below for you guys to check him out if you want to hit him up for some graphic content, some GFX stuff. So yeah, we are in EWT as your Carolina HAXORUS, making our debut, and hopefully we can take it all in our first draft league with our new squad here. Our new team name. Sorry, I'm all over the place right now. So as you can see on our screen right here, we were picked 13 out of 16 coaches. Obviously not the best, so we couldn't get anything that I really originally wanted. Now I'm gonna be doing something a little bit different with this draft recap, and I actually got the idea from Aquarius, who got the idea from Dr. Slacking. Aquarius is in the EWT. Her channel link and everybody else's coaches links will be down in the description below for you guys to go check out. Dr. Slacking is not in this league, but she got the idea from him, and then I saw her recap and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. So yeah, I hope she doesn't mind that I'm stealing it or borrowing it, whatever. So yeah, check out Aquarius and all the other coaches down in the description below. They also are uploading their draft recaps today, so yeah, definitely check those out. But yeah, we were picked 13 out of 16. Now again, obviously couldn't get anything spectacular that I really wanted to, but the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go quickly through all my picks, and then everything will be on your screen, and then I'm going to talk about how they all kind of work together and function and stuff. So yeah, first pick I got was Latios. I really wanted Zeraora or Tornadus Theory, and like those were the two I was like, realistically they could drop the 13. No, unfortunately they went back to back picks, like 8 and 9 or 9 and 10. So yeah, that was unfortunate, but ended up getting Latios, a bunch of cool new moves, so that's pretty cool. On the way back though, we were able to get Celesteela, which is insane because I was actually like this close, like almost about to get Celesteela instead of Latios, but I was like, maybe I can wait on Celesteela, and it was able to make it back to me. Funnily enough, I sniped the number 16 coach of Latios, so glad I didn't try to wait on Latios. I mean, I could have got Latios, I guess, but I like Latios better just because offensively wise, it's a little bit better. And then Celesteela, stupidly fat, we know what it does. Next off, I decided to get round 3 Cinderace, which I was so excited about because I didn't think this would make it back to me in round 3. I was debating this or Crocodile. Unfortunately, Crocodile went right after my pick, so yeah, maybe I could have waited on Cinderace, but it's not the worst thing ever. Round 4, I decided to get Roserade. Really wanted something with spikes because we have a steel type that does not rocks. So I'll touch more on that later. Next off, we got Mienshao for 10 points. This is a steal for 10 points, man. Like typically this is like 12 or 13 if I'm not mistaken, up to like 14 sometimes. But at 10 points, I was like, I want this. And I got it luckily in round 5. I maybe could have waited another round, but I was like, I don't know. It's really good value, especially for at this point in round 5. Speaking of value, round 6, I got 5-point Lantern, which Lantern is actually a really cool Pokemon. Synergizes really well here. Again, I'll touch on all the extra stuff when all the mons are shown. Next off, I got Aromatisse, our fairy type to finish off our Fairy Steel Dragon Core, which is really, really nice, which is amazing as well. Next off, we got Palossand. I don't want Palossand, but I need a ground type that can rock, so we got Palossand, and unfortunately Sandaconda got sniped. I really wanted Sandaconda, but Palossand's okay, I guess. Next off, we have Regirock, literally just here because I needed another Stealth Rocker, and it was really cheap, like 5-point Regirock. I think is a little bit cheap, honestly. Like, this thing is super fat, and it can reliably Stealth Rock, which is really, really nice. Next off, I got round 10 Obstagoon. Like, at this point, I knew that I could probably have got this last round, but there was maybe one person that had enough points to get this in case they wanted to double up on dark types, or I think double up on normal types. And I was like, I'm not gonna risk that because literally my last mon does not matter. And my last mon was 1-point Maractus. It's just there because it gets spiked. So as you can see, this is our full squad. It all came together pretty nicely. I really like this draft. Again, the only real thing I don't like is having Palossand as opposed to Sandaconda. Like, I would have much rather had Sandaconda, just because I think it might have fit a little bit better on the squad here. But it's not the worst thing ever. Like, what's it called? Palossand. I just said the name. Palossand is pretty cool, I suppose. But I really like how the synergy of this team came out. The only real thing I guess that I don't like is that I wish I had a bit of a faster mon. Our fastest mon is Cinderace, sitting at base 119, which is not the worst thing ever. Like, there's not many Pokemon that are going to be faster than the Cinderace, so that's going to be really nice. But obviously things like Tornadus, Zeraora, Dragapult, Spectrier, fast things like that can run more bulk as opposed to speed. So those are things that we're going to take into consideration if we do face them throughout the season. So yeah, not really the worst thing ever, but we do have some good speed here. We have some really nice forms of speed control as well. Latios gets Thunder Wave, Lantern gets Thunder Wave, Regirock gets Thunder Wave. I think even Obstagoon gets Thunder Wave, which is really weird. Stun Spore from Roserade. Sleep Powder as well is really nice. Like, a sleep move is always good to have on a Pokemon potentially. And the nice thing about this draft as well is that I got a bunch of Pokemon I really haven't ever used. I think the only mon I used before was probably like Aromatisse, and even then that was only in lower tier. I think, yeah, I had Roserade in the Showdown lower tier that I still need to upload, by the way. And I think everything else I've never used before. I've considered them in the past, but I've just never got around to drafting them. And yeah, so let's start off with Latios and Celesteela. I was surprised that Celesteela made it back to me. But I knew that a good steel type was going to make it to me in round 2, so I was really hyped about being able to get Celesteela. I think I had my eye on another steel potentially. I was considering like Ferrothorn or Heatran round 2. Mainly Ferrothorn, just because it gave me a good, reliable Hazard Mon that also paired really well with Latios, since they have really good synergy. Then Heatran also was a really good pair to potentially go with Latios. But I was like, round 2 Celesteela, I can't pass that up, man. Like, really the biggest downside of Celesteela is that it's a steel type that can't Stealth Rock. And that is where Roserade comes into consideration, because I knew as soon as I got Celesteela that I would need to get a very reliable spiker on the squad here. Now, obviously there are quite a few Pokemon that get access to spikes. Not many that I was really honestly looking at because how they potentially function here. I'm trying to look up spikes real quickly. For example, like Skarmory, Heracross, Klefki, things like that, obviously being steel types, not the best to add alongside with Celesteela. I guess like Excelgor or Frostlass, but they're typically just too frail. The speed is nice, but I don't want something frail that I need to choose between either getting up a hazard or doing damage. And that was kind of where Scolipede also fell into that pool. Like, I originally really had my eye on Scolipede. I was really set on getting Scolipede, but then the more I thought about it, the more I looked at it, I was like, I don't really like see myself bringing spikes with Scolipede often. Like, I would much rather it come in Swords Dance and just do damage, and by saving me a few points, I was able to get Roserade, which pairs up really well because Latios having access to really great offensive moves like Aura Sphere, Dragon Stab, Psychic Stab, Mystical Fire now, Shadow Ball, Calm Mind, still very scary, Dragon Dance, even mixed sets could be really cool. Really love spikes. Leech Seed Celesteela is extremely supported by toxic spikes, which Roserade gets as well, which is amazing. Not to mention that, again, Celesteela does not get Stealth Rock, so I knew that I wanted a really reliable spiker, and then I had to get at least 2 solid Stealth Rockers down the line, which, as you can see, are Palossand and Regirock. Yeah, they're a little bit slow, but typically whatever match I bring them to, they can and should more or less be able to get up rocks very comfortably and reliably, so I'm not really too concerned about that. We do have a bit of a ground weakness, not necessarily like, unless we face Zygarde, there's not really many, I guess, ground types that would necessarily be too annoying. Maybe like Crocodile could be a bit of a problem, or just, I don't know, Edgequake Mons really aren't that problematic. Yeah, I mean, Palossand, like Regirock is super fat, so it's not really the worst thing ever. But yeah, so along with spikes from Roserade, rocks from Regirock, and Palossand, I was like, we have some really good hazards here that both our 2 main Mons in Latios and Celesteela really like, because of them being able to just wear things down even easier, or just knock them out much easier, as well as the fact that Celesteela gets access to Autotomize, really great coverage, even Meteor Beam now, so that thing can definitely be a potential sweeper. Cinderace also absolutely loves hazard support. Another downside, I guess, of this draft is that we don't really have the best hazard control, but with like Court Change, Mind Games, and then Latios still just being able to defog very reliably, I'm not too concerned about that. Well, yes, Latios does want to be offensive. It can still fill that role of a defogger potentially. And of course, Boots. Everybody knows about Boots, so worst comes to worst, we just run Boots. Next off, I was informed that I should probably get a good fighting type to pair with Latios, just because Latios does invite fat normals and fat psychic types in. And while, yes, fighting is weak to psychic, the nice thing about fighting types, well, the fighting type that I wanted that should hopefully have had momentum was Manchow. And again, 10 points for Manchow is an absolute steal in my opinion. I was really happy to have been able to get this at round 5. Again, probably could have waited, but not that important, I suppose. And yeah, Manchow is really nice because not only does it get access to momentum in U-turn, it also gets knockoff, which is even better if I can knock off those bulky psychics, or just knock off any type of items from any of my opponents' very bulky mons. And typically what Manchow doesn't like to deal with, Latios can more or less deal with, outside of the bulky psychic types, which, as you can see, round 10, we got Obstagoon, which absolutely obliterates any type of psychic Pokemon, which again, Manchow comes in, forces in those psychics, I U-turn out, I knock off accordingly, or if they bring in a fairy, we bring in Celesteela, or we bring in Cinderace, or we bring in Roserade, and something either drops, I get to set up, or I get up a hazard, which is amazing. Not to mention the Manchow itself can also set up because it does get access to Calm Mind, Bulk Up, and Swords Dance, if I'm not mistaken. I want to say it gets Swords Dance. I've never seen Swords Dance, but I want to say it gets Swords Dance. It does get Swords Dance. Why does nobody run Swords Dance on this? I don't know. Maybe we'll see Swords Dance Manchow throughout this season. Also, a nice thing about Manchow is that Regenerator is an absolutely phenomenal ability, which means that even our little bit of a hazard issue can be kind of nullified because of Regenerator, which is amazing. Why is this opening up? Sorry about that. But speaking of momentum, we then were able to get Lantern in round number 6. Now, not only does Lantern give us a Volt Turn combo along Manchow and Cinderace, I suppose, but Lantern pairs phenomenally well with Latios and Celesteela. Now, Latios and Celesteela basically already together make an amazing core, because Latios deals with fires and electric types that Celesteela doesn't like, and then Celesteela deals with the fairy types that Latios doesn't like. Now, both of them are, well, Latios is weak to ice and Celesteela is neutral to ice, but they both resist ground and they both resist grass, which are the only 2 weaknesses of Lantern right here. So those 3 together, like, they basically synergize like perfectly. Like what are they even like? Like, I guess knockoff is like the only real annoying thing that I can think of from the top of my head that would bother them, but even then, it's not that big of an issue. So yeah, Lantern patches up the weaknesses that Latios and Celesteela have, and then those 2 in turn patch up the 2 weaknesses that Lantern has, which both of those 2 can easily beat ground types and grass types effortlessly. I don't know. No, say English. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say. Okay, sorry, I'm so excited. But yeah, they like fit so well. On top of that, we were able to get Aromatisse round 7, as I had mentioned. With Wish, this is going to make Celesteela even more of a nuisance to try and take down. This is going to make Lantern more of a nuisance to try and take down. Yes, Lantern does have like a massive HP stat, but that doesn't really matter if I can pass wishes to it and it's still going to be benefited from gaining that recovery. So yeah, Aromatisse I felt was probably like the best fairy that could fit here. I really had my eye on something like Comfy. Unfortunately, that went really early on in the draft, and then I had to kind of think around other things. I considered Slurpuff potentially like a bit more of an offensive fairy. It gets access to sticky webs too, but I was like, my team doesn't really care about webs. So I even think that got drafted eventually. And then I was like, okay, Aromatisse. Yeah, Aromatisse actually fits really well. It can be offensive in its own right with Trick Room and Nasty Plot as well. It's super fat. It can't be taunted or encored, so it won't be able to be stopped from getting those wishes to my walls or to whatever offensive mons I may want to pass them into. For example, Regirock, not having reliable recovery, is going to love getting wishes from Aromatisse, especially because Aromatisse does have such a nice HP stat, which is amazing. Maractus was really just there, again, as a one-pointer. I don't really have anything to say about Maractus. I guess it gets us a second Spiker, so we have 2 Spikers and 2 Stealth Rockers, so that's good. There was like literally nothing else in 1 point. I think I was originally looking at like Shelmet, but then I was like, why is Maractus 1 point? They kind of do the same thing. Maractus gets spikes, it gets spiky shield if I'm not mistaken, so that's kind of cool, I suppose. Obstagoon was something I was really surprised ended up making it to me at this point. I think by like round 7 or 8ish, I want to say. I was like, everybody basically has a dark type at this point, or they have a normal type, or by like round 9 or 10, I was like, okay, they can't afford Obstagoon regardless. So I could have, again, got Obstagoon last round, but I wanted to be safe, and I just got it this round because honestly, my 1-pointer, in my opinion, didn't necessarily matter that much. Like, I don't know, maybe I could bring Maractus to a game or two. It depends. Like, I really don't think it's worth 1 point. Like, I think it's probably better than 1 point. It's probably the best 1-pointer, which is not really saying much, but you get what I'm trying to say. But Obstagoon, man, Obstagoon is crazy. Obstagoon is one of those Pokemon that I really wanted to use back in early 8th gen, and being able to use it now, it gets me really excited. It gives us also access to Parting Shot, which I love Parting Shot. I feel like I haven't been able to use it properly many times in the past, but we know what Parting Shot does. Putting your opponent at -1 attack and -1 special attack, allowing your offense to come in is amazing. That means Latios comes in to set up. Bulk ups from Mienshao or from Cinderace. Celesteela can Meteor Beam, Autotomize. I don't know what Aromatisse can potentially like Nasty Plot even, which would be really cool. Like, there's a lot of great benefits to Obstagoon on this squad. Knockoff in general is one of the best moves in the Draft League format anyways, so being able to get rid of those items is going to be amazing. Now obviously I do need to be careful with Mienshao because Mienshao does like to run knockoff as well. But besides that, I'm not really too concerned about it. Like, knockoff plus facade from Guts, Obstagoon is going to be doing so much ridiculous damage, man. This thing is going to be coming in and claiming KOs. I can feel it already. And onto our Stealth Rockers, which I know I touched on earlier by us getting access to the hazards. Palossand being a ghost type is actually kind of good for us because if you see our fighting resist in Latios, Celesteela, and Roserade don't typically want to take like super strong physical hits. Like a boosted like close combat is gonna dent all 3 of those, honestly. So I figured that's where Palossand does kind of have a little bit of a benefit. I think the other ground type I was looking at, or the other ground type, sorry, I was looking at were like Rhyperior and like Stumpfisk potentially. Stumpfisk is weak to ground. I didn't want another ground weakness. Same thing with Rhyperior. Plus I had my eye on Regirock very early on. I think by like round 4, I was like, I really want Regirock. Like, Regirock, in my opinion, I think is going to fit really well just because it's really bulky. It has access to some good support moves and it can reliably get up Stealth Rocks if needed. So yeah, I figured that definitely want Regirock, and then I was going to try and see what good ground types I could get. Palossand did benefit us from being able to help us with that little bit of a with that little bit of a fighting nuisance. I want to say a fighting weakness, just it's a little bit annoying. And that's where Palossand kind of comes in handy there, because we're a part ghost, we're immune to that. I really wish, I feel like everybody says this, but if its ability just made it immune to water moves, that'd be so much better, man. But yeah, Palossand's a really cool mod. I get some interesting moves. I've never used it. I've rarely ever faced it, honestly. So I'm hoping that if I do bring it to a few games, that it will be able to pull its weight, which I think it will be able to do. Like, it has decent bulk. It has some nice coverage again. So yeah, excited to use that. And honestly, like, all of these Pokemon, minus like Roserade and Aromatisse, which are only Pokemons I've used in lower tier drafts, I think everything is new to me, honestly. Like, yeah, I thought I only had a few new Pokemon, but I've never used Lottie, Selly, Cinder, Chow. Yeah, wow, okay. We got a whole new roster of mons I've never used, and we got a new team name. I really like how this draft turned out. Obviously, it does have some weaknesses. It does have its little bit of flaws here and there. I touched on some of them already. There's some other noticeable ones potentially, but I don't want to give this away to my opponents because you guys already know we're trying to come out here in our debut of the Carolina HAXORUS and win the EWT. We were in Season 1. We made it to playoffs. Unfortunately, couldn't play playoffs due to personal life. We didn't come back for Season 2 because we had other leagues going on, sorry, at the time. And we got invited back to Season 3, which is amazing. So shout out to Automatic. Check out all the awesome coaches down in the description below. Make sure to answer the comment question of the day, guys. I am excited. This draft is going to be awesome, and I really hope y'all do like it. So with that being said, let's make sure to Draco Meteor that YouTube algorithm. Leave a like, comment, all that shenanigans. Check out the coaches, subscribe to see our run of the season, and yeah, cop your Durham Drotagon merchandise before it is gone. The link to all of that stuff will be down in the description below. With that being said, I will see you all next week on Thursday with our Week 1 match. So, later, everybody.